Welcome. I'm Kathie Overeem, and this is a short practice focusing on methods that support mental health. And that includes some diaphragm breathing and invitational language. So you might come towards a seated position that feels helpful for you. So maybe that's cross-legged or kneeling, or maybe you're in a chair to start. And you might notice the surface underneath you. And you might notice the crown of your head. And if it's helpful, you might lift up through the crown of your head, maybe noticing muscles that activate to lift you. You might notice that you're breathing. And you might notice where in your body you feel movement of your breath. And you're welcome to stay here, or you might focus the movement of your breath towards your diaphragm space. And this is the space directly below your sternum where your ribs intersect. You might bring a hand to this area to help localize that space. You might feel your ribs moving as you breathe. Maybe they expand out, maybe they contract in. Just noticing what you notice. And feeling free to stay here for longer. Or you might let that practice go. Here you have the option of taking a side bend, so you might lean to one side, maybe you lift your arm up overhead. Another option that you could take is your arm behind your back, so that's something that you could explore, and choosing a variation that suits you in this moment. You might notice your breath, and you might feel a sensation through your side body. Welcome to stay, or you might move towards your other side. Again, feeling free to reach out, up overhead, or maybe your arm comes behind your back. That's your choice. And you might feel a sensation through your side body here. And maybe that sensation changes with your breath. Welcome to stay, or you might come back towards a neutral position and maybe moving towards hands and knees. Feeling free to bring a blanket or support in underneath your knees if that's helpful. And you might notice that you're breathing here. And feeling free to just sit with that sensation, or you might start to move with your breath, maybe moving backwards and forwards through your spine. How much you move is up to you. This could be a big movement or a small movement. You might move with your breath. You might move independently of your breath. That's completely up to you. You might feel sensations through your belly, between your shoulder blades. If you find a place where you'd like to pause, feel free to pause, or you might keep moving. And from here, if you like, you might move towards child's pose or maybe downward dog, just depending on how you're feeling today. You might feel the surface underneath you. Feeling free to be still, or you might pedal through your feet if you're in downward dog, or maybe you rock gently from side to side if you're in child's pose, balasana. This is a beautiful place just to check in, to notice what's going on. Feeling free to stay there, or you have the option of taking a lunge, an anjaliasana. So maybe you bring one leg forward. You might reach your hands down towards the ground, or maybe towards your knee. So that's something you could explore. Feel free to stay there, or you have the option of lifting up through your arms. And if that's not helpful, feel free to return back to a previous variation. Some more advanced or less advanced, it's just a different sensation. Feeling free to hold, or you might plant your hands, maybe pressing back to downward dog or child's pose. Again, completely up to you based on how you're feeling in this moment. And you're welcome to hold, or you might move towards a lunge position on the other side. In your choice, maybe your hands reach down towards the ground. Maybe you prefer them towards your knee. Or maybe you would like to reach up overhead. Again, completely up to you and your body. You might notice your breathing. Feeling free to hold, or again you might plant down through your hands, maybe pressing back towards downward dog or balasana, child's pose. Maybe you're still, maybe you move. And again, welcome to hold. We have the option of again moving towards a lunge position, so as you feel ready, you might bring your left leg forward and moving towards a lunge shape and taking arm positions that suit you. Now you're welcome to hold, or maybe you take a twist. So you might lift up with the arm opposite to your leg, maybe hooking your elbow across your knee, and you might stay here. Or you might bring your hands in towards prayer position, palms touching, and then thumbs towards sternum and sternum towards thumbs. Feel free to keep your back knee on the ground, or you might lift. In your choice. It's not more advanced, it's just different. Feel free to stay, or you might release your hands back down towards the ground and pushing back towards your downward dog or child's pose. So you see we're using this neutral shape just to reset between the two sides. So it can be a neutral shape of your choice. Holding there for as long as you like, and as you feel ready you might move towards your other side, and you might take your lunge shape. You might prefer to stay here, this might be a sensation you prefer, or you might lift up through your arm opposite to your leg, maybe hooking your elbow towards the side of your knee. You might stay there, or palms might touch, and then you might push your sternum towards your thumbs and your thumbs towards your sternum. Maybe your back knee lifts off the ground, maybe it doesn't. Different bodies do different things on different days. Notice where you feel sensation in this shape. And welcome to stay, or you might move towards your neutral shape, maybe downward dog or child's pose. And just noticing what you notice. The effects of your practice. And welcome to stay there longer, or you might start to move towards a seated position. And maybe bringing your legs out in front for Paschimottanasana or a forward fold. So you might start here by just exploring. Maybe you want to straighten out through your legs, or maybe you prefer to bend your knees today. So feel free to try that out, see how it sits. And you might stay here, or you might start to come forward. And you might feel a sensation through the back lines of your legs, and you might use that sensation to gauge how far forward you'd like to come. Your hands might reach down towards the ground or towards a part of your body, maybe your shins, ankles, or feet. Feeling free to adjust your gaze, so you might gaze down or you might gaze forward, just seeing how that changes sensations for you. And welcome to stay there longer, or we can take a counter shape. Maybe you bring your hands behind your hips and maybe you squeeze your shoulder blades. You might be leaning back into your hands here, shoulder blades squeezing together. And how you position your head is up to you. You might bring your chin towards your chest. You might gaze forward or up. Feel free to modify based on sensations that you notice. And as you feel ready, you might come out. And moving back towards the seated position and moving full circle in our practice. So you might come back to your Sukhasana, a cross-legged position, or maybe you move towards a chair. Eyes could be open or closed. And you might take a moment to drop back into your breath. Maybe noticing where you feel breath in your body. And if it's helpful, you might focus the movement of your breath towards your diaphragm space. Now you can stay here as long as you like, maybe taking a few minutes just to let that work you've done integrate before you move into your day. You might stay seated with your diaphragm breath or your natural breath, or you might prefer to lie down, taking a Shavasana. Well, thank you for taking the time to practice. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And namaste.